welcome class of 2028 students and families. I'm Jeanette Alamia, Director of Counseling. I just wanted to reiterate that we have some handouts, a sign-in sheet, and a QR code if you want to follow us digitally. A few things that I would like to share. This presentation will be recorded, posted on our new YouTube channel, which can be found on the Counseling Center's website. The handouts, etc., the checklist, the handbook that you have in your hands, all of that will be also available digitally through the website. So welcome again. Before you know it, our class of 2028 will be departing, but before we don't want to kick you out. We want to enjoy every single day here with us, and so we want to make sure that you are equipped and you have all the information that is needed so that your students can be future ready. And so let's begin. Our agenda is comprises a few sections, and so we will discuss. I will present to you our counseling staff and student support staff and the wonderful resources and assistance that they provide. I will speak about the role of the high school counselor, the 25-26, our upcoming calendar highlights. We will also discuss the maximizing the high school experience as colleges do view the student from a holistic perspective. So we do that to prepare all students to become well-rounded individuals, and we'll discuss what that means. That includes learning and having mastery in terms of diploma requirements and the newly rolled out New York State seals that we will be discussing, as well as our course selection process, the program of study, the transcript, GPA, extracurricular activities, those opportunities that we offer. Also, we post those on the website. Honor roll, honor societies, college testing, Naviance, resources, and we'll have at the end a question and answer Q&A section. So I would definitely jot down your questions as we go through the presentation, and we will gladly answer those. We'll also stay here after the presentation and after the Q&A. If you have any individual questions for us, you can definitely approach us. We'll be glad to help and to answer those questions. So our counseling staff, as I shared, I'm the Director of Counseling, Ms. Alamia. We have Ms. Donahue, our wellness counselor and 504 chairperson, Ms. Ferraro, Ms. Freeland, Ms. Kovach-Devlin, Ms. Pickering. As you know, you worked with her a couple of years ago. She is our junior high counselor. We have Ms. Espinato, and we have two wonderful office assistants, Ms. Groninger and Ms. Mizapisa. We also provide extra support for students as needed. We have a wonderful social worker, Ms. Laura Navarro, and we have our psychologists. At the high school, we have Dr. Chase and Dr. Busheva, and then at the junior high school, we have Dr. May. And they're, again, a wonderful source, and not only a go-to people for our students, but for our families as well. So the role of the high school counselor, this is year 2 of your student being in the high school. As you can tell by now, the role of the counselor evolves and it shifts when students are in the high school. We still serve and cater and assist and counsel to every single need of the student, whether it is college and career readiness planning, academic, and also support individual and family support. When it comes to the college and career readiness planning, counselors guide students in exploring post-secondary options early through various tools, such as you can see, there's a checklist that we have provided for you so you can be aware of those college career readiness tasks, but also through our platforms such as Naviance. We provide, and the counselors provide, structured timelines and checklists. In terms of academic advising and transcript management, counselors ensure that students understand what are the graduation requirements, what diploma type they're getting, that they're aware of all the different endorsements, such as mastery in math and science, and we'll discuss briefly on those later on, as well as the actual, like I said, the New York State seal, the seal of biliteracy, as well as the civic readiness. So we'll touch on those as well. The counselors monitor academic progress throughout the year, so every 5 weeks, the counselors view the students' academic progress and connects with choices to college and career goals. So those conversations in terms of the students' favorite subject or strength, that's when the conversation of a major of study also evolves. So when it comes to the academic and the college and career readiness piece, course selection and those discussions are also taking place often and frequently. Counselors meet with students and families to discuss college planning, the application process, and financial aid. And they communicate through individual meetings. They push it into classrooms and also conduct group sessions, workshops. We also communicate anything that's, guidance or counseling related through our newsletter and digital platforms such as Parent Square, as well as each class's Canvas page through the Counseling Center. So just make sure that you are joining those parents as observers and that you are aware of the notifications and that if you have any questions or feedback, please reach out to us. And students, we know that Parent Square and now Student Square is at your fingertips. If you could definitely make sure that your Student Square account is active and that you're receiving those notifications, because it's really great to have that text message to prompt you to look at an email. And again, we just want to make sure that you're all well informed so that later on you can make informed decisions with, as a family, and also with the guidance and advisement of the counselor later on pertaining to, again, course selection, college readiness, post-secondary planning, and resources available. When it comes to the social-emotional wellness support, counselors promote the well-being while students balance the demands of high school. As you know, students are quite busy not only in the school, in the building, but after hours outside of school. So students are balancing academic rigor, extracurricular activities, attending summer programs, volunteering, and just playing an instrument, performing. So our students are quite well-rounded and therefore they're busy. And so we assist with time management, we assist with study skills. So those conversations and those group sessions are had. And even in the classroom, all counselors, when they push in, they talk about, how to manage stress and ways to also ensure that your stress level or feeling overwhelmed about all of these demands are managed. And so access and advocacy are first and foremost, our top priority is to advocate for our students and listen and partner with our families, parents, and guardians. And so we ensure that all students have access to college and career resources. Again, tonight is an overview. We would be here for days if we were to share every single detail of what advisement we give, as well as the role of the counselor. And so this is a kickoff in terms of 10th grade, getting you guys ready for what's to come. And so we're giving you bits and pieces, but a lot of great information at once. And so those Parent Square notifications, we felt that it was necessary to include all grade levels, because we would like for you guys to have a heads up as to what's to come junior or senior year. What are those events and grade opportunities and tests that your student will be engaged in. And so in terms of also the counselor tracks and reviews data to ensure student success. The counselors also look at, as I said, every 5 weeks, reviews academic progress reports as well as report cards. And counselors meet with students and families to discuss any concerns as needed. These meetings also are held at a building level, and so counselors do, when there is a concern, meet as a team with fellow colleagues and administrators to discuss any academic support that is needed or other interventions. And so here are the calendar highlights, and it's starting in September and October. We do have the counselors pushing into the classroom presentations and conducting individual meetings. And so our 9th and 12th grade classroom presentations already were held. And so tomorrow the counselors will be visiting the 10th grade classrooms to conduct a career exploration lesson in Naviance. The Naviance platform, you were introduced back with, in junior high. Students were able to complete a career interest profile, and so we're going to delve into more about, learning about yourself as well as college search through Naviance. So in December, the 26-27 program of study is published and shared. This is the kickoff to course selection and academic planning. I know it's only October, we're already discussing the following school year, but this is how, once we are, we roll out the information to our students, then we start planning for the new year. And so counselors will meet with students to discuss course selections, electives, and then the current teachers enter tentative core course recommendations in the school. And those are, we will send a parent square notification when those are available through the eSchool portal. So it's very important that you check the eSchool portal regularly. In the spring semester and end of the year, we continue advisement and support, and so the 10th grade students will also learn even further about the Naviance features, guidance on summer opportunities. We do have a summer opportunity guide that's on the website, on our Counseling Center's website. We also provide any guidance and support and resources with regards to regions and final exam preparation. And we understand that and recognize that our students, some of our students, if not most, are taking AP exams in May in the springtime. So we understand that those resources and prep work is necessary, and the counselors will be definitely introducing those and meetings, again, through newsletter, through all the various platforms and through our website. And also at the end towards the end, around June time, soon, summer school registration, if needed, will be discussed with the student. And so I will introduce Mrs. Spinato, who will be discussing and kicking off the topic, maximizing the high school experience. Mrs. Spinato.
So, maximizing the high school experience continues through 10th grade. We try to instill this philosophy early on, particularly when we meet with them for the year, and create a baseline for them to know how to achieve these 4 specific goals. So with academics, we want to see consistency and growth, students achieving at a high level. Understand the workload is going to change, and that it's going to be more significantly challenging with more reading, obviously, and more homework, and more studying, and more higher expectations for sophomore year. And of course, as counselors, we're here to commit to the student to have conversations about that, and monitor their progress, and make sure their academics are on par, and also meet their expectations and also their family's expectations. And that kind of progresses throughout the entire year, and then goes into scheduling in the spring. With community engagement, we want to see students still be attracted to Cold Spring Harbor and be a part of extracurricular activities, obviously sports, connecting with their friends, advocating for themselves, discussing concerns about academics with their teachers, with their guidance counselor. A sense of engagement is important. So we also want to see volunteering and growth in that department as well, whether it's in school, at school events, or outside of their own community. With regards to extracurriculars, students who perform in athletics or busy in clubs tend to do better in school as well, and being busy is important. We know that they have a busy lifestyle already, and to couple that with sports and clubs can be an arduous task. However, that detailed work by them allows them to be stronger students, managing commitments, managing executive functioning skills, as well as developing rapport with coaches and other teammates. And that pours into the classroom as well, and also develops more confidence and independence. So we want to see growth in extracurriculars as well. And that's also good for the college application process. And with personal growth, I think it's important that students have a feel for independence, a sense of advocacy, knowing what their abilities are, where they can grow, where they've made mistakes, where they can learn from those mistakes, and then obviously move forward with them. That way they don't happen again. Or if they do happen again, it's a strategy to solve that problem. So a lot of problem solving, strategizing, knowing themselves, advocacy, independence are a part of developing into personal growth. And of course, the ultimate, which is, hey, if I want to go to college, where do I want to go? And I've met that expectation for myself, so to commit like I wanted to since 9th grade to make that dream happen. So it kind of all goes together. It's a culminating experience, I believe, the senior year. So these will continue to the end of the senior graduation. They leave here self-assured, independent, mindful of their ability, and when they can progress and become independent community members. Diploma requirements and courses. So as you can see on this slide, we have subjects and the minimum number of credits that students would take to graduate. So for a student at Coastal Harbor, they're going to have a total of 22 or more credits to graduate high school. And in that, you can see they'll take 4 years of English, 4 years of social studies, credits moved by year, by the way, 3 years of math, if you're credits of math, 3 years of science, a year of world language is required, 1 year of art and music, 2 credits for physical education, half a credit worth of health, and 3.5 years of electives. It's all going to vary by students and their interests. They're going to find through the process and scheduling, and also when they're in class, they'll be able to delineate, where they belong with electives and the level of course they want to take for the following year in a particular subject matter. And that's going to come through conversation, obviously, and talking with their teacher and developing independence and advocating for themselves. So it all swings back to that first slide, regardless. When we're looking at requirements for courses. We can tie that in all the time. With regards to diploma requirements and assessments, you can see here on the left-hand side on this slide, assessments or reads exams that have to be taken, or usually taken by year. So life science, biology, or earth and space can be taken in 8th or 9th grade, depending on the student's entry level into that course or courses. And Algebra 1, 8th or 9th grade as well. French or Spanish FLACS A exam is held in 8th or 9th grade for the student as well. Local history and geography is grade 10. Geometry would be grade 9 or 10. Algebra 2 would be grade 10 or 11. Chemistry, grade 9, 10, or 11. The FLACS B exam in French or Spanish is grade 10. English in grade 11. The U.S. History Government Regions in grade 11, and the Physics Regions in grade 10, 11, or 12. So students, again, will decide in scheduling and also through their work about their progress and what courses they're going to take next, and what assessments they'll be working on. Diploma types, endorsements, and seals. I'll first start with the diploma types. There's 3. There's the local diploma, a Regents diploma, and advanced diploma advanced Regents diploma with, Regents diploma with advanced designation, pardon me. So I'll start with the local diploma first. It's a type of diploma. By the way, all diploma types, all 3 of them, require 22 credits, so we know that as a baseline. On top of that, all diploma types require students to earn 22 credits. Students who meet their credit requirement for a local diploma may have, in particular, an accommodation. With a Regents diploma, students who meet the credit requirement earn an passing score on all required Regents exams. And students who meet the credit requirements for the Regents with advanced designation earn a passing score on all required exams, including 2 additional math and 1 additional science to complete the sequence with maybe potentially a world language. Mastery in math, mastery in science, show that as well. So with mastery in math, we're looking for students to receive an 85 or higher on the Regents exams. A diploma with honors, students typically receive a 90 or higher on those Regents exams. I want to continue now with the seal of biliteracy and seal of civic readiness. These are new. We were in the classroom not too long ago with students discussing these, and we'll discuss them even more as students one-on-one with parents for the scheduling as well. The New York State Seal of Biliteracy states, the New York states, it's an award given to high school graduates who have demonstrated a high level of proficiency in English and one or more world languages. The seal encourages encourages the study of languages, affirms the value of diversity in a multilingual society, and provides universities and future employers with additional information about applicants. This distinction will be noted on both the diploma and transcripts, demonstrating to colleges, employers, and communities that students exhibit students exhibit high proficiency level of English and one or more world language, and they value a multicultural society. So how does one achieve the seal of biliteracy? A student would have to demonstrate proficiency by completing tasks and a point matrix and earn at least 3 points in English and 3 points in another world language, as demonstrated on the slide right here. It's a little confusing to read now. However, we will be engaging students in conversation about this rubric and the point system that they can achieve that seal. The seal of civic readiness. The New York State Seal, a student's commitment to engage citizenship, preparing them for success in college, career, and community life. This distinction will be noted on both the diploma and transcript, demonstrating to colleges, employers, and communities that the students are informed, responsible, and an active participant in civic life. The criteria for a seal of civic readiness is right here, I'll show you. Students must complete all requirements for New York State, local, or regional diploma and earn a total of 6 points with at least 2 points in civic knowledge and at least 2 points in civic preparation or participation. Students may also earn points by completing middle school capstone projects or a high school capstone project. Again, we'll be talking with students about these seals on and off during the school year and in the classroom. We welcome, obviously, emails or phone calls as well if you want to discuss them on the phone or in person, and see how your son or daughter can capitalize on those seals as well. I'm now going to pass my phone to Ms. Ferrara.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so as Ms. Alamia said, we're really happy to have your children and we're not rushing you out. But with that being said, we do like to plan ahead. So in talking about scheduling for next year, here's an introduction to the program of study guide. Right now you have access to the 25-26 program of study guide on the website, and we're developing the new program of study, which will be available in December. And many of you are probably familiar with that nice spiral-bound book that we have all of our courses listed in from scheduling with Ms. Pickering or with us last year. So that's just a reminder that you have access to everything in terms of class opportunities at the high school, so you could project not only for your students' 11th grade year, but also looking ahead to what that could potentially mean for the 12th grade as well. This is a timeline of our course selection process. So by mid-December, teachers will be submitting their course recommendations, and you will get a notification that those are available to be viewed in the portal. The digital program of study will also be available then. January, you'll be able to access printed copies of the program of study. Students will get those in their classes. And then in January, we're also hoping to host an elective fair for students so they can explore some of those course options that they might be less familiar with, and as they have more space in their schedule with some of those art and health requirements being completed already, they can review more of their elective options and have those choices for 11th and 12th grade. In January and February, we'll be meeting individually with students and families. I know many of you did come in to meet with us last year. We think that's a wonderful opportunity not only to get to know your students better, but to hear your perspective on their progress and learn little bits of information that they don't often share on their own. So that's a really valuable time for us, and we encourage you to come in to meet with your student and plan for their junior year. Once we meet, those requests and any updates we discussed will be viewable in the portal come February time, and then if there are any changes for any reason after those meetings, we would like to be notified by March. So what are we considering during the course selection process? What should you as a family be considering with your student ahead of coming in to meet with us, and what will we be discussing as the caring adults and the student when we're planning for next year? So grades, how are students currently performing in their classes? Is the rigor that they're taking currently appropriate to meeting their needs? Are they appropriately challenged? Did we bite off more than we could chew and we need to scale back? And that will look different for every student. What learning opportunities are they taking advantage of? Is there a particular course that meets their areas of interest or better readies them for a potential career or major that they're already expressing interest in? And that coincides with post-high school and college preparation. Are there particular programs that are already standing out for your student? Did they hear something through an older student or know somebody that goes or have developed an interest in a particular school and already know that there's a particular requirement that they need to satisfy while they're with us? For college admission, making sure that we're building an appropriate transcript to your students' needs and that we're representing them well with the courses that they're taking and how well they're performing in those classes. And you will hear us continue to stress every year the importance of balance, not only with the schedule, but with time outside of the school day. Are the courses that students are selecting, are they leaving them the opportunity to have dinner with their family, hang out with their friends on the weekend, participate in extracurriculars? We don't want to see students with a disproportionate amount of homework and not having chance to engage with all of those other things that we value so much. So as 10th graders going into the 11th grade, we also have vocational opportunities for students who may be interested in a particular area that might be more hands-on. So I have the privilege of serving as the BOCES liaison, and that means I work with Wilson Tech and communicate with Lisa or Long Island High School for the Arts. So we currently have students enrolled in both of these schools exploring different program opportunities and gaining some more hands-on experience in these particular areas. So anything from aviation to HVAC to animation to the performing arts. Between these two schools, we have extensive opportunities. Students would be able to apply in this current school year for the following year, and it can coexist with college and career planning. So by attending one of these programs, there's this old myth that your student would not be college bound. That is not the case. A lot of the programs actually have articulation agreements with colleges where students have opportunities to earn college credit while also gaining hands-on experience and potentially graduating from these programs with certificates in particular areas. So how does your student learn more about these opportunities? One, they can come stop and speak with me or their counselor at any time. So if there are any questions that you have, please feel free to reach out. But the websites for both high schools are linked to the PowerPoint, and we also have Wilson Tech visiting during all lunch periods on November 20th. So my counterpart at Wilson Tech, another counselor, will be visiting to talk to any students interested in attending the programs. Some of your students may also know current students who are attending and can share their own experiences. And then for Long Island High School of the Arts, there are open houses coming up in December and then February and March. And then there are also opportunities to shadow students on a one-on-one basis. So if anybody has any questions or interest, what it would look like for scheduling, it would be half of your school day in the morning, and then you would return to Cold Spring Harbor for your afternoon classes and your more academic-based graduation requirements. Okay, so academic requirements continued a little bit here, discussing transcripts. So what is on a student's transcript? Those are all the courses that they've taken and grades that they have earned throughout their high school experience. It is posted and updated annually. Usually you could see the most up-to-date version after the academic year in about mid-July. And how do you know how students are doing? So progress reports and report cards throughout the year. You want to represent that your courses are challenging but manageable, meaning that you're doing well but you feel like you're academically stimulated. And we want your transcript to be a reflection of that. How do colleges review transcripts? I get this question almost daily. So a transcript boils down to more than just a GPA. Their academic transcript is reviewed more as a story, where they started and where they're ending, and what that journey on the in-between looked like. So how well did they perform in their courses in 8th and 9th grade? And then moving on to the later years, did they challenge themselves further? If they performed really well in a class, did they scale back if needed and learn to balance out? Are there patterns when it comes to areas of interest? Are we focused more on the STEM field versus the humanities? So again, it's the level of rigor, the courses taken versus what's offered in our program with study guide, your individual course grades and your GPA, and then your trends. Is it consistent? Is there an upward trend? What we never want to see is a downward trend, and then we want to see increased performance or rigor as you're approaching your senior year. GPA calculation, so every high school has a unique GPA system, which can make it difficult when you're entering the college process of knowing how your GPA compares to another high school. But our calculation is a 4.0 system, and it includes every grade except for physical education. Honors, pre-AP, and AP courses get weighted by a factor of 1.1, so a 4.0 for an A would be a 4.4. GPAs are rounded to the nearest hundredth, and any accelerated courses, if you saw your biology course has accelerated next to it from the 8th grade, or if you took algebra, those courses are not weighted. And then both your unweighted and weighted GPAs are viewable on a transcript. This is a calculation worksheet. I'm not asking anybody to do math if they don't want to. The computer does it for you. But if you ever wanted to check or project what you may be getting on your GPA, if you were to earn a certain grade, this could be a worksheet that you could use to help you with that. And this is available on our website as well. Here's a sample of a transcript for a current 10th grade student. So it has any of the courses that a student would have taken for high school credit during the 8th grade, and then the courses that they completed last year and the grades and credits earned for your 9th grade year, and your courses currently in progress for 10th grade. At the bottom, it's very tiny. You can see the GPAs, both the weighted and the unweighted averages, and the top corner you can see Regents exams taken to date as well. When you reach senior year, this is what a more complete transcript will look like. So all completed courses from 8th grade through junior year, as well as the current courses as a senior. In addition of in that comment section that has any AP Scholar information, honor societies, that's also where you would see the seal of biliteracy or civic readiness. And then at the bottom again, the unweighted and weighted GPAs. And this is a sample of what would be sent to colleges on behalf of a student. So now I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Donahue.
Hello, everyone. So what you're looking at now is something that may be familiar to if you've logged on to your student's Canvas page. This is an example of the clubs and activities page. So each teacher, of course, has their own Canvas page with a calendar. So oftentimes, as counselors, we find ourselves directing families to the calendar pages so you can see looking ahead what assignments are due. But we chose this more fun one because it's about the activities they can also get involved in. So we have one Canvas page for all activities that students can get themselves involved in. So all you have to do is look at the calendar, you can click on it, it tells you where the club or activity is being held, who the advisor is, and then you can just show up to a meeting and see if you like it. We always tell students, especially in the classroom, in 9th and 10th grade, get involved in as many clubs and activities as you like. You may not want to come again, and that's okay. We're not asking you to commit for life, but to find out, explore your passions, and that's what high school is all about. Also during high school, we know students are working towards different accolades. Those on the screen right now. We're talking about honor rolls and honor societies. So there are different types of honor societies in our school. What's most important to point out now that in 10th grade and in 9th grade, we would have mentioned as well, that students have to be working towards community service hours for Honor Society. So each student needs to have 20 hours of community service each year in order to apply for Honor Society in junior year. So they have to be 20 hours in 2 separate locations, so it could be 19 in one and 1 in another location, but 2 separate locations each year, culminating to the 60 hours as you're applying for Honor Society, National Honor Society, I'm sorry, I should specify, in junior year. So that's just something to note if they are working towards that, to continue to do that each year. Each Honor Society has a different advisor. Again, linked on the website who the advisors are and the different qualifications for each of those. And then, of course, the honor roll GPA is listed as well. So those are just different opportunities, again, that students can be taking advantage of. And those are listed, as you saw in the previous slide, on the transcript. So college testing. So if many students took the PSAT this month, in October, are we still in October? Yes, it was this month. On a Saturday, they came in and took the PSAT. Oftentimes, some juniors will take the PSAT as well. That is in preparation for the SAT. Colleges will take a look sometimes at either the SAT or the ACT. Why do I say sometimes? Because we have probably heard already that some colleges are test optional. We do encourage all of our students to take the SAT and or the ACT to see where they stand, to see if they're hitting their goals towards college admissions. And then you can make that decision together with your counselor about whether or not to submit those scores if they fit the qualifications of the colleges that they are applying to. But we do help students to prepare for those exams. One of those ways was to take the PSAT, then we take a look at those results and look at some test prep methods. Another one is going down a further slide. But just looking at how to register, that is something that you as a family would do. You register through the College Board or through the ACT. We don't do that here in the school. We can always, of course, walk you through that, but those are the websites that you would register for those exams. So I'm going to give you a timeline in a moment about when you should be taking those exams. So just taking a look at 10th grade, of course, since that's what we're here for, is looking at really how to practice, take as many practice exams, and prepare for the SAT, which would take place in the junior year. So I think I kind of just went over that stuff about you, the 10th graders just taking the SAT, or actually, let me just go back really quick. On the bottom, I talked a little bit about that colleges sometimes look at scores and sometimes they don't. So the difference between test optional and test blind. So some schools will say that they are test optional, meaning that if you think that you should submit your scores because they fit within the range of what they are looking for, and you can find that out through the colleges, then you can opt to submit your scores. And some schools will say that they are test blind, meaning that if you do not submit it, they don't want to see your scores. This is not something that they're looking for. So they're different. Again, each school is going to have their own qualifications. What's really great about Cold Spring Harbor is that we have over 80 schools that come to our colleges and universities that come and visit our school in the fall. And so seniors take advantage of this, and that representatives will even meet with the students individually after the meeting and go over what their best chances are as far as submitting or not submitting scores. So you're never going to have to make this decision on your own, but we want the students to be as best prepared to have the highest scores possible, and that's why we're talking a lot about preparation now, and then you can decide afterwards what is the best fit as far as submitting or not. A lot of talking about looking at the slide, so this is kind of what I was just talking about, the difference between the SAT and the ACT. Some schools will say that they'll take either or. The ACT, sometimes students prefer over the SAT and vice versa. There's really, I've heard a lot of myths about that too, about like which one is better. They are digital now. The SAT has cut back in the amount of time, so a lot of students who do not like long test taking will sometimes choose the SAT. So there's all differences between the two tests. Again, very personal, individualized decision to make. I would definitely advise you to speak to your counselor about which one. You'll also, of course, speak to friends and family members who have taken both and which ones are you preparing to test for. So I said that we would talk about going forward in 11th grade, when's the best time to take the test. So we do ask that students are preparing their 10th grade year to take their first real SAT in the fall of their junior year. And then looking at their scores, seeing where they can improve, and taking another test. 2 or 3 tests is not unreasonable. Colleges and universities will do something called super scoring, meaning that they'll take the best of each section. So sometimes students will opt to study really hard after they took the SAT for one section or the other to make an improvement, just different strategies. But again, looking at the timeline, you'll want to take one in the fall of your junior year, maybe another in the spring. Looking at knowing that, of course, in your senior year, you're applying in the fall. We want to make sure that you have your test set and ready to submit by those deadlines, which are October 15th, November 1st, early in their senior year. So right now, our seniors have been applying to schools. You know, a lot of those, earlier deadlines have passed. So if you're to imagine what that looks like in a timeline for taking tests, we want to make sure all your scores are ready to submit by that time. Just a little message on the bottom, if you are going to be a recruited athlete, to make sure that you are keeping in touch with your coaches here. A lot of times you'll need scores submitted earlier, so a message from the counseling department really being to keep in good communication with your coaches and letting your counselors know that this is something that you are interested in, so that they can continue to communicate and advise appropriately as well. So these are the tests that are left for the rest of this school year. Some of them you'll note say that Cold Spring Harbor is hosting those exams, and some of them are not. So when you register, like we said earlier, on the College Board website, you'll put in a location, it'll tell you which ones are nearest to you. I've seen students take tests in other states because their families are vacationing, and so they'll put in Massachusetts and take a test while they're there. So you're not mandated to take it here or locally. But you'll want to take the test, whatever works for your schedule and your preparation schedule. So this is what is left for this year for our juniors to be taking. And so every year it's pretty much the same schedule, minus or plus 1 day. So before I alluded to some preparation materials. So Cold Spring Harbor utilizes Methodize. It's a free testing platform. So all students have access to this through their ClassLink. So logging on to ClassLink, you'll see Castle Learning, and then Methodize is a free test prep method that all students have access to. So we definitely encourage you to utilize that, looking at your results, even speaking to like any other tutors that you have, but start with this. You can utilize this year, do a little bit at a time. What's great about it is you don't have to sit down for 3 hours and do this. You do this on 20 minutes a night, get as much prep in as you can, all for free. So Naviance, the students have been working through the Naviance platform since they came into this building. It looked a little different in junior high. There was some career exploration, and now we're moving into more clearly the career exploration with the skills and interest inventories. And then the next portion of it is really looking at colleges that might match those careers that they've already been building in their portfolio. So the students have taken skills inventories, what am I good at, and then things that they like, and then they go together, and there's been lists that have been provided as far as what jobs may come from that. Now they can take that next step and look at which colleges may have majors in those careers that they've been studying along the way. So Naviance is a great tool. You're able to access that as a family and go into that and check out any, and they can retake the test too, because sometimes we know they might have been silly about it when they were in 7th and 8th grade, so they can retake the test and be a little bit more serious about it now, and then connect it to some colleges that might have something for them to offer. So this is the fun part that everyone loves to see, Naviance, the scattergrams. How many people have seen this before or heard about the scattergrams, these little dots? So the students get excited about this because it shows, based on past Cold Spring Harbor students, what schools that they have gotten into based on their scores. So I have to put a little caveat in now that there are some tests optional, some of these things are a little bit skewed, but it's still a pretty good representation of our students here at Cold Spring Harbor in the past. When they have applied to a school, and you'll notice by the different key on the bottom, if they applied regular decision, if they applied early action or early decision, and if they we're looking at Binghamton specifically here, but each school might have their own scattergram that would show what their chances are to get into a school if they had those specific scores. So we're looking at a student with like a 3.8 GPA on the left. Their SAT scores are listed on the bottom as like a 1350, it looks like, and then all the people who've applied and had similar scores are listed there. So it's just easy for a student to kind of get a visual about what their chances are in schools similar to their peers who have already graduated from here. That's not just a little bit closer up, and then that little person in the middle would be where your students' statistics lie. So they could see, this person in the middle of all that green is a pretty good chance of getting into Binghamton based on what their scores are and those that have been accepted in the past from Cold Spring Harbor. So they love to have fun. They want to start working towards because it might be a little bit out of their reach currently, but they have so much time to still work with that. Okay. Miss Almia.
So I hope that this information has been useful and helpful, and that you're feeling excited and just really motivated to pursue and continue with the 10th grade. And we wanted to share the additional information and resources, and I also wanted to highlight some notes that I made throughout the council's presentation. First and foremost, as we share with you the QR code, the slide, so you can follow through the presentation, because I know some of the print and the font might be a little bit, definitely smaller, but with your device, you're able to navigate through that. The 10th grade checklist and timeline, definitely, that was another handout that we share with you, so feel free to speak with students, speak with your counselor, families, reach out to us with any questions with regards to those tasks and responsibilities for our grade 10 students. The Naviance login page, all of these are hyperlinked into the slide, so as you go into the website, or again, if you scan the QR code, you have access to all of these embedded hyperlinks. You can go into the Naviance login page. Parents and guardians, we will send a communication with regards to Naviance and accessing it. Everyone will have a dedicated code and the ability to log in. If you already have an older child, you should have access to Naviance already, but we will send communication with regards to your own Naviance account, so you can go across the kitchen table, shoulder to shoulder with your student, and navigate through the scattergram, look at the super match feature, in which students can select their criteria and peruse through their college results based on criteria. We also want to invite you to please, every time we send out our monthly newsletter, to again go in and read throughout the newsletter's multiple pages and different hyperlinks, as well as important dates and important events that are coming up. And so we embedded and included the October newsletter, and the November newsletter will be launched in the coming days. And then our revamped counseling center website is chock full of information and hyperlinks. And what we did is that we categorized the information by different titles, such as academic planning, college and career readiness, presentations. The link to the YouTube channel is there. We will be posting this recording as well as future events recordings there. And so I just wanted to also reiterate that the seals, the New York State by Literacy seal, as well as the New York State Civic Readiness seal, hyperlinks, the guideline, the application, all the paperwork is hyperlinked, but your main source is the school counselor. Let's see what else. Our PSAT Now What workshop will be November 20th in the high school library at 7 p.m. This presentation will be conducted by the Princeton Review. So for those of you that took the PSAT, we will be delving into the interpreting and understanding PSAT scores. Those scores will be released in the coming days. If your student has not taken the PSAT, the workshop is still very useful, as there will be information with regards to SAT and ACT and future testing. And then the PSAT and MSQT, we encourage all students to take it next October so they can qualify for the National Merit Scholarship, which is a nationwide recognition. And so we encourage everyone to take the PSAT in 11th grade as well. So now, with that being said, we included an FAQ of frequently asked questions and common questions in the following slides, but I would like to open the floor to see if anyone has any questions with regards to the presentation. Okay, great. So we will be here, as if you prefer to approach us and ask questions, we're here for you. Thank you so much for coming out. Stay warm. We will definitely